Hey guys, today's episode is a bit of a different one. I'll be showing you my national costume in honor of the 17th of May. But I also have some knitting content for sure. I have a new cast on and I have a knitting fail to talk about. So hope you'll enjoy it. Well, hi everyone. As you can see, here I am, all dressed up for the 17th of May and nowhere to go, as a lot of other people in Norway right now, I think. For those of you not in Norway, you might think it's weird. What's all this? Does she dress up with for some folkloric pageantry or some sort? No. In Norway, it's very much become the tradition to have a national costume made that suits either where you're from or where your parents are from, and you make that up and you can wear it to all occasions. Usually the most classic one is the 17th of May, obviously. Everybody goes out and parades around with their fabulous traditional costumes. And I say traditional, they're not quite, but close enough. And you can wear them for the 17th of May, baptisms, weddings, funerals, you name it, any sort of occasion, a celebration, whatever it is. If it's a bit fancy, you can put a bunad on. I don't think I would wear it like to a theatre or the opera if it's a fancy, put something nice on. But definitely for family gatherings and celebrations, it's the done thing to put a bunad on. But you know what? I get ahead of myself. I completely forgot to say welcome. There it snaps again. Welcome to the podcast. This is now episode 20 of Hanging On by a Thread. My name is Sølje and I'm talking to you from inside of a fjord arm in Norway. If it wasn't obvious. I think in fact I'm feeling a bit silly sitting here all dressed up in my bunad in front of the camera. But why? I mean, it's probably because I never wear it. I've lived abroad for many years. If you've seen previous episodes, you would know this. And I've never really had access to my bunad. And even so, there was no Norwegian occasions to celebrate. But now there is. But the past 2 years, this year and last year, pandemic on, there was no reason to put any costume on and go parading, was it? But this year I figured, what the hey? This is a craft channel. And the special thing about the bunads are they're all handmade. So you can of course buy one made for you. You go in and take measurements at Hillesvåg, and usually there is, but there's several other places that make it. And usually each region make their particular bunad. I live in Trøndelag, but this is not the Trønderbunad. This is the Hallingdal. This is more specifically, I think it's the party bunad, yeah, festdrakt, Festbunad. Well, this is the party bunad from Nes in Hallingdal. And that's where my mum's from. So when I was 15 or thereabout, I think the summer 14, 15, we used to go visit every summer my grandmother. And before getting the confirmation, you traditionally get like your bunad ready for confirmation in church. And I get to choose my silver, the colors and the accessories that go for the bunad. And my mom bought all the fabric the threads. So like basically buying a kit to make it at home, because buying it already made is insanely expensive, as it should be, because there's so much craftsmanship in that goes into a bunad. So everything here has been sewn and embroidered by my mom. I helped a little bit with the embroidery. I think I helped a little bit on the, no, I lie, I only helped on the band, bottom band on my bunad here. And so there is not the greatest embroidery ever done, right? Which, but it's made for me by my mom, and that brings me a lot of joy. And yeah, the shirt also has been made by hand. You can see this white work is amazing. So my shirt has white work on the cuffs and the collar. And I think the white work was done by my uncle's wife's mother. Pretty sure. My mom took the shirt and the cuffs and things down south a couple of years ago to have her complete it, because she didn't trust herself to do the white work. Well, I have to say, this border here is pretty neatly done. So, what do you think? Do you like my bunad? I think it's pretty cool. I'll try to take some sort of like full figure shot and show you guys that as well. I've got the matching hat on, which I think it was my grandmother's. She's now dead. So my mom got a few, she got her bunad, I think, and the silver. And so some of the accessories I've taken on, like the purse, because this bunad, although it is massive, it has 3 meters around with the fabric. It's an empire cut, so I have plenty of room in my skirts for pockets. When they did this kind of reconstruction thing, because let's be honest, this is not something that people have been wearing since 1700 until today as national celebration. It's kind of had a revival in the early 1900s, I think. So I think in around 1920 they really started like reconstructing traditional bunads from around the country and making what they call a bunad, right? So there are some, so you can go into your local shop and choose like this apron, and but they're kind of been set in the styles, and I'm feeling now that if I were to choose to make my bunad today, it would be completely different. I think I'd still go for the Hallingdal bunad, just because that's my connection to that part of the family. But I think I would go for a different style. I think I would go for more like the weekend dress, because there's options of like really brightly colored silk shirts and neckerchiefs and things like that. And also I would definitely make some specific underwear for this. I'd make a petticoat and I would have access to some sort of pocket, not just the bag. That's kind of a modern addition that people needed to bring things, but yeah. But I would like to have pockets that could have a little slit and access under my apron, right? That would be pretty cool. But yeah, so happy 17th of May. I hope you guys, if you're in Norway, you should be having hot dogs and eating ice cream. And yeah, we'll be going to my parents' house to celebrate with them, and she'll be cooking. I think obviously I'll be wearing this. And let's see. So should I show a little bit more about it? I feel rather like, I haven't worn this in a long time. That's the thing, I feel a little flushed. I really do. Let's see if I can show some. The hat is particularly... The hat is so neatly stitched. I don't know if you can see that. If it's just trying to focus on my... There you go. See how neat those stitches are. And I tried to do my hair. That was like, how do you do Bunad hair? That's always the thing. So I tried to do it what I think they would have done. Just part in the middle, sleek down, and cover as much as it with the cap as you can, right? My hair is not long. I think they would have had like a knot in the back here, but my hair is not long enough for that. And clearly, I've gained a bit of weight since the last time I wore this. This is not one of those bunads that has a stay, but even though my waist is completely free, it was a bit tight going to get this on. I needed to get help doing that, and I have not yet, I don't have buttonholes here yet, so I don't have cufflinks, and there's just these pressure buttons, and they keep popping up on the right arm particularly. Actually, I feel like the short sleeve might be a bit short. Norwegians, what do you think? Or how long should they're a bit short, right? Are they? But yeah. So, what do you think? Is this fun to see? For sure I could say a lot more about this bunad, but I want to keep it about knitting, the podcast as well. So if you're really, really curious about my bunad and where it's from and all the options that are out there, I will link to the Hillesvåg website that shows the different bunads, so you can browse around on all things Norwegian if you feel like it. And of course also you can ask me questions about it in the comments below, so I'll be happy to answer if I know or research it. So let's get on with the podcast proper, as it were. Should I do a clothes change? Nah, why not? I feel really... It's like, it's one thing to dress up in this when you know you're going to be surrounded by everybody else in their bunad, and everybody's going to be like, oh my goodness, that's so pretty, where it hit from. Another thing is to kind of sit down alone at home with all this up. You know, I feel like I'm kind of playing dress up because, you know, when you're a little kid and yeah, you know, I'm Elsa from Frozen. Or maybe better, the little sister. I think that suits me better. I am a little sister, so I'll be the other one. What's her name? Don't remember. I've seen the film like 10 times now, but can't remember. Okay, so going from embarrassment to embarrassment this week, I'm going to show you my Skye pullover. So my Skye, I ran out of yarn. I mean, this was not enough to finish my sweater, so I did the neckband in the contrasting yarn, which is fine. I was like, how could I have run out of yarn? I'm usually left with a ball or so after having finished it, because my row gauge is quite tall and I end up using less yarn. Yeah, my row gauge is tall and my gauge was terrible as well. So I've ended up with a massive, massive sweater. It's too big and the neckline is way too, like, And I haven't washed it and I haven't blocked it, because then I don't think I'll be able to rip it out. And I think I might as well rip it out. How I was knitting so steady. But anyways, here it is. My Skye pullover. Enormous. Gigantic. It is so big. See, I mean, the neckline was a bit like, I think it should be this much less. So that's, and this is totally down to me not doing a proper sample. So I got so much of this done. And I was saying last time that I fear this might have gotten overboard. You know what? I think this needs to be illustrated by wearing it. Should I put it on? No, I do not want to. I only brought it down because this is basically all I've been knitting on the last 2 or 3 episodes. And I could not show it to you when it was kind of technically completed. It's bound off. But it is sitting in a pile of shame. Because I'm mad at myself for not realizing earlier when I had the body done and I was casting on for the sleeves. I thought, this is very wide. So with the gauge I was having, which I think the gauge is fine as far as what the fabric it's making, I could have knit the size 2 probably, and I would have saved myself some stitches and some yarn, and I would have been completing this with the blue on top. I'm really at a loss what to do because I've spent so much time and energy into doing this. Will it be a very fancy gift for somebody? Maybe. My mom, maybe. Again. She runs off with all the best stuff. Because I fail at knitting for myself. I've started another project. So yeah. So it is a garment. It is finished. The knitting itself is quite nice, you know, like, come on. This yoke is lovely. I love the colors. It just did not look great on me. So it's very disappointing. It looks weird and bulky. So needless to say, I don't really feel like talking about it again. But Skye pullover, it is finished. Okay, can I say something helpful about this? Let's see. Can I say something helpful for other people not to do the same mistake as I did? Okay, obviously, if you have a feeling that says, oh, this is getting to be too wide or too big, you're probably right. Just stop right there. Check your gauge. And, you know, measure and rip back and do it again. Don't end up with a very time-consuming, pretty garment that just looks awful on you. And for one of the few times the sleeves are like slightly long as well. So the sleeves are good. And I was fudging a bit with the number of stitches. I didn't even have all the stitches that I should have had for size 3. And still I end up with this massive beast. Does that happen to you guys a lot? Because it does with me. So I've knit a lot of garments, but and I know. Do a gauge swatch. Yes, obviously. This keeps popping up. This is annoying me too now. I'm feeling this might be a bit of a grumpy episode. I'm sorry about that. But you know, between the I had put this away because it was making me angry, and now I have to sit here and talk about it. Yeah. The yoke fits really nicely though, that's the only thing I can say. So it's just the body section is enormous. Could I... No, it's the body section and the neckline. Any ideas on how I could fix this without ripping it all back and doing it again? I would much appreciate it. Please, please, please leave some comments below if you have any ideas. Yeah. I'm just going to put this to one side and talk about a happy knit instead, because I do have a new knit on my needles. If you follow me on Instagram, I'm not very active. I basically just posted every time I have a new episode out. I am terrible at taking the time to take the pretty Instagram shots, because honestly it takes time to like set up into a flat lay and take the pretty shot. And we're like, no, I ain't got time for that. I want to knit the thing. So I have cast on a new... Oh, do you mind if I take my hat off? See if the hair stays in place, sort of, kind of. And see how neat that stitching is. Oh my goodness. I have no idea who stitched this. It was certainly not my mum. Sorry, Mum, I know you're going to be seeing this, but stitching is not your strong suit. This is so neat and tight and beautiful, and it makes me want to redo the entire embroidery on my Bunad. Because I didn't know it was supposed to look like this. So this is super nice, it's so dense, and it fills the whole thing. Anyhow, I digress. I wanted to show you my hair. Maybe I should have kept the hat on. So I've cast on Stephen West Fantastitch shawl, and I am on my merry way to having the complete 800 stitches on the needle. I am making the large size. You start out with 8 little stitches in the center. It's a circular shawl and it uses lots of different colors and texture stitches. So this is what I've got so far. I've gone from 8 stitches to around, I got about 300 now on my needles, I think, on this section I am at. So, I need to scoot again. So this is the progress I have on the Fantastitch shawl. I'm on to section 8, I believe, which is some sort of triangular slip stitch thing there with the gold and the white. Oh, this is, damn, it's tricky to show sharp. There you go, that's a little better. You can see all the texture. So here, stop trying to find me, camera. There you go. So it's a semicircular shawl. And as you see, the grows out stitches. And I've got 7 colors. I mean, I have got 7 colors technically, but some of them are very, very similar. So I'm more like I've got 7 textures and about 4 colors. So call it 4 colors and 7 textures because I've gone for a more muted palette than the example. I've got my brown, golds and greens, as I love. So I decided to use, for the gold, I decided to use my BFL sock from, BFL nylon from Stranded Dyeworks. So this is orange tabby. That is so gorgeous. And to go along with the orange tabby, I went for this rustic yarn. This is Hillesvåg Sølje dyed by Værbitt yarn. So this is kntting. So it's a nice deep reddish brown. And I had one more skein left over from the lapwing sweater. So I have that. This is a one-of-a-kind colorway by NinaPetrina. This is Blueface Lesta as well. It's called Olive, I think. So these are my 3 like main yarns, which is the A, C and E colors. That was recommended to be a wool to have some structure. These are the ones that you need the most of. So those are my A, C and E, as Steven says in his tutorial. And to go with that, I had, for the one that requires the less or second to least meters, I went for a leftover yarn that I had, which is, I believe it's Malabrigo, their fingering weight merino, and I think it's the colorway Mars. Isn't that gorgeous? I just love this colorway. And it plays with the browns and the green, but it adds a bit of red as well, so it adds a lot of warmth. So that's really nice. And then I have selected some fluffs to go with it. These 3 is what I ordered from is it Sandnesgard? I lie. I'm pretty sure it's Rauma. I've got my bands here. Okay, yeah, Værbitt, Nina, I knew those. Yeah, it's Rauma. So it's Alpakka Lean by Rauma. And I just had to try this quality because it's so fluffy. Look at that fluffs. And it is very soft. I mean, alpaca, I've talked about alpaca before. It has, but the brushed alpaca is lovely. I'm jumping on the bandwagon with the brushed alpaca, suri alpaca, whatever you want to call it. It is very nice. And this is spun with a linen core. And it makes it so nice and cool. So I totally want to make, not gonna happen, but I want to make a jacket or a small cardigan that's a bit of like a fluffy summer cardigan, because mohair could become very hot. So if you want this kind of light, airy summer cardigans in silk mohair, and then you have another strand of something, it's no longer a summer cardigan, is it? But this is actually thick enough that you could knit it with the one strand, I think. And it would be very light and fresh. And the colorways are really nice. The The colorways just had numbers on the label. I don't remember what they're actually called, but you can see this is probably some honey jade or fluffy sheepy. Stone, granite, marble, who knows? But it is very pretty. Look at that flaps texture. And this green. Pretty, pretty, pretty. And the yellow. And that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 colors. Yeah. I am massively enjoying this knit. I'm enjoying it so much. I really hope that lasts all the way through the next 500 stitches increase. And I will have this awesome shawl. Yeah. Oh, gonna hook it on my Sølje. It's called Sølje, my bling, by the way. Basically silver. Brooch. A giant brooch here. You can hear it when somebody in Bunad is approaching. It's the clickety-clack of the shoes and the noise of the silver. I know there's Bunads that have so much, like there's some with belts and they're awesome. Yeah, I will link to an overview of everything Bunad below, so you can go check that out. There are so many pretty ones, and I really love that you're kind of allowed to be a bit more fantastical with these things now. I would totally do that if I were to do my Bunad again. I would not respect tradition so much, because there's always going to be, oh, you cannot do that with the Bunad. That Bunad doesn't have that. Like, I don't care. It's mine. It's supposed to represent me, my family, and myself, right? So you can't tell me that when people dressed up 300-400 years ago, they didn't put their own stamp on things. For sure they did. So, there. I've said my piece. That's all I had for today. It's been a bit different, I guess. I don't feel like I have stayed on script. And I hope you'll forgive me for that, and that you enjoyed this episode even so. And, you know, like, subscribe, notify, all that good stuff. Share with your friends if you found it funny. And let me know if you want to know more about Norwegian-y stuff. I just thought it might be something that crafty people enjoy to see. And yeah. Oh, if you want to follow me on Instagram, my handle there is Silmoa, Ravelry the same. And everything I mentioned in this podcast will be in the description box below and also on my blog. I'll try to put some notes there, although previous week was a bit deficient. It's a learning curve. It's a learning curve. Yeah. And happy 17th of May. Celebrate with all your loved ones if you can. And by Zoom or whatever. Stand on the balcony, wave a flag, and eat your ice cream. So, happy 17th. Bye.